All right, so here is the assignment for today. So we have these two graphs and we're doing composite functions. So for the first one, it says, well, let's define, we know that f of x is the parabola and g of x looks like this somewhat cubic function. And I can see right now there is one small error here. So like right here, it says g of x is from -5 to 0. It's actually from -4 to 2. All right. So anyways, g of 0. So we go to g of 0 first. So that's f of g of 0. So g of 0 is -2. So now we're going to do f of -2. And f of -2 is right there on 0. All right, for number 2, let's see if we can switch colors here. There we go. So we start with f of -3. So f of -3 is right here at -1. So now we're doing g of -1. And g of -1 is going to be right here. The y value is going to be -1 still. All right, let's go g of -2 now. So g of -2 is right here at 0. So now we're going to do f of 0. F of 0 is up here at 8. All right, let's go to the next one. So we have g of f of 0. So we're going to start with f of 0. So f of 0 is 8. So if we do g of 8, so g of 8 is somewhere way over here. So that does not exist because it stops at 2. All right, now we're going to do f of -2. So let's start with f of -2. So -2 is 0. So now we're going to do f of 0, which is right here at 8. All right, now we have 3 composites here. So we're going to start with g of -4. So g of -4 is -4. So now we're going to do f of -4. F of -4 is over here at 0. And last, we're going to do g of 0. I'm sorry, we're running out of space here. So g of 0 is -2. So I'm going to just put this right up here. And that's the answer for number 6. For number 7, we have another one with 3. F of g of g of -2. So g of -2. So g of -2 is right here. Oh, sorry. G of -2 is right here at 0. So now we're going to do g of 0. So g of 0 is now at -2. And now we're going to do f of -2, which is right here at 0. All right, for the last one, or second to the last one for these here. Let's see if I can get it clear. Okay, so f of -1. F of -1 is right here, so it's at 3. So now we're going to do g of 3. And g of 3 right here, we notice that it does not exist. So therefore, that's where it stops. All right, so let's go into this next part here now and erase some of this stuff. All right, when is g of f of x equal to -4? So all the previous ones, we started from the inside and we worked our way out. Now this one, we're going to start from the outside. So -4 is a y value. So we're going to start with this. Let's go with blue again. So we're going to say g of x equals -4. So I go to my y value right here, and I see that it hits right here, and the x value is also -4. So we know now the inside f of x equals -4. So I go to f of x, I go to y is -4, and that's somewhere down here, and we can see it doesn't hit, so that does not exist. All right, now we're going to do f of g of x equals 8. So we're going to start with f of x equals 8. So my y value of 8 is right here and actually hits already. So we know the x value is down here at 0. So we're going to say g of x is equal to 0. So over here, I go to the y value of 0, and I'll show you what I do here. I'm going to put a line through this just so you can see how many points it hits. So you'll usually see me make lines like this. So I see it hits here at -2, and it hits here at about 1.5. So here I would say that x equals -2 and 1.5. All right. Number 11 says, is it possible for f of g of x to equal -1? Okay, so we'll just work it out like normal. So starting from the outside, f of x is equal to -1. Let's see. So f of x equals -1, and we see that it hits right here at this value right here, which is -3 for x. So g of x equals -3. So we go down to -3. Again, I like to draw a line through here where y equals -3. And I see it does exist right there. So it exists at around x is -3.5. I'll put that. Yes, and it does exist because it has an actual value. All right, now we're going to look at number 12. It says, does this one exist? Is it possible for f of g of x equal -3? So we start with f of x on the outside equals -3. So the y value is -3. We draw a line here. You see it doesn't hit the graph, so that does not exist because there is no value there. All right, on to the next ones. All right, so this one, find fog of -3. So f of g of -3. We're going to start with g of -3. And we're going to go to the g function. So -3 squared minus 1. So 9 minus 1 is 8. Now from here, I will go with this. So now I'm going to do f of 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. All right, for the next one over here. Remember, fog of 4, it's really like f of g of 4. I just can read it like that. So g of 4. So g of 4 is 1. So now we're going to go with f of 1. So f of 1 is -3. All right. I don't know why I switched between the two like that. My bad. All right. G of f of 3. So f of 3. 3 times 3, which is 9. So now we'll do g of 9, which is going to be 9 squared minus 1. So 81 minus 1 is 80. And over here, g of f of 3. So we'll start with f of 3. So f of 3 is right here, which is 6. And now we're going to do g of 6. And 6 is 2. And there's my answer. All right. On to the next ones. So f of g of 2. So we're going to start with g of 2. So g of 2 is 5x. So 5 times 2, which is 10. So now we're going to do f of 10. So 2 times 10 squared plus 2. So 2 times 100 plus 2. 200 plus 2 is 202. All right, on to the next one. G of h of -2. So let's start with h of -2. So -2 minus 1, which is -3. So now we're going to do g of -3. So 5 times -3, which is -15. All right, for our next one, g of f of -3. So let's start with f of -3. So 2 times -3 squared plus 2. -3 squared is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. So now we're going to do g of 20, which is going to be 5 times 20, which is 100. All right, and this one is a composition, so it looks like we're going to do it twice. So h of x is actually a function. So h of x, we're going to start with g of h of x. So we're going to start g. H of x is x minus 1. Now the g function is 5 times x minus 1, because we just substitute that in. So we get 5x minus 5. So now we're going to do f of 5x minus 5, which is going to be 2 times 5x minus 5 squared plus 2. All right, 2 times, now I'm going to write it twice. And the plus 2. So I'm going to FOIL this out. Let's see, 5x times 5x is 25x squared. Negative 25x plus negative 25x is negative 50x. And negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25 plus the 2. We're going to distribute the 2. 2 times 25 is 50x squared. 2 times negative 50 is negative 100x. 2 times 25 is 50 plus 2. So my final answer, 50x squared minus 100x plus 52. All right, on to the next ones. All right, we'll do 21 first here. Actually, that's fine. So now we're doing this whole one here. So we're going to plug h of x into g since there's no numbers. So g of h of x is 3x plus 11. So this is going to be, the g function is x, which is going to be 3x plus 11 for x, minus 2. So 3x plus 11 minus 2, which is going to be 3x plus 9. All right, for the next one here, f of j of x. So f of j of x is 2x squared. So we have 4 times 2x squared minus 3. 4 times 2x squared is 8x squared minus 3, and I can't go any further, so there's my answer. Find k of b of x. So k of b of x is negative x squared plus 4. So we have x is negative x squared plus 4, and then plus 3. No need for parentheses, so negative x squared plus 4 plus 3. So negative x squared plus 7 is my answer. All right, on to these last ones here. So h of g of x. So h of g of x is x minus 2. And now we're going to do h, which is going to be 3 times x, which is x minus 2, plus 11. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is minus 6, plus 11. So 3x plus 5. On the next one, j of f of x. So f of x is 4x minus 3. So j is 2 times 4x minus 3 squared. So 2 times, I'm going to write this twice. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL this out real quick. So 2 times 16x squared. 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x. And then another negative 12x, which is negative 24x. Then negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So when I distribute the 2, I get 32x squared minus 48x plus 18. And then for this last one here, b of k of x. So b of k of x is x plus 3. So we have negative parentheses x plus 3 squared plus 4. So just like the previous one, I'm going to write it twice. I'm going to FOIL it out, distribute the negative, and then add the 4. So negative, that's going to be x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus the 4 on the outside. Negative x squared, negative 6x, negative 9 plus 4. And last, negative x squared minus 6x, and negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. And that's it.